Is there a secret the SEC's been keeping from us that they may release today? Bitcoin crypto morning tea. Hey. Good morning, everybody. My name's pianomattyb. That is Scaramucci's. This is your morning TA. A brief glimpse into the crypto markets where the sun's shining, where the wind's blowing. All the humble opinion of this piano. Zamboni bringing the data. The FOMO index has dropped to 51 from yesterday's 53. Bitcoin dominance is 48.8%. 24-hour volume is 25 billion. The overall market cap is 1.17 trillion. Snap. Give or take 100 million. Well, for the 6th month in a row, the CPI don't care report was a giant burger de nada. I mean, she flinched a bit, but that's just anxious quant bots exercising their buy-sell algos. After the CPI report came out slightly higher than last month, but slightly lower than expectations, price action woke up like a startled dad on the couch during an afternoon nap, peeking out and getting insta-slam dunk rejected by the 200 moving average at 29.7 and found a bottom and a bounce 29.3 and has whimpered back up to at time of production 29.4. So we couldn't hold support at 29.8. And now, well, we're back in our channel of eternal monotony. And we're ever so close to the goldenest of golden ratios, the Siggity 1.8% fib, which is at 29.2. High probability of checking that box before any reversal can be anticipated, which is also right at the 50 moving average. Now failing a bounce from there, we should get some support at the psychological level. A 29K, which is a hop, skip, and a wick away from our channel support of 28.8. Now there is some news that might come out today that could shoot us right back up to that 30K level. But more on that over on the Wookiee. Now over on the Ding Dong. We're tripping the light fantastic down the 20 moving average. Above her, I'm optimistic. Beneath her, I'll be looking for a quick drop. As save for this pretty decent level of support at 29K. She's a low volume pocket with a take me down to support bumper sticker on her Volkswagen Bug. Her dad bought her for her 16th birthday. And where is support? Well, she's at 28.2, don't you know? A level we've been joining on and on about ad nauseum for weeks now. Quick look at the Wookiee. Sees we just crossed the 50-yard line on our ascending channel, moving us closer to support. Then resistance for the first time. We just double-wicked off the 20 moving average so far. And a recent study has shown Canadians have little or no need for a CBDC, as their financial needs are essentially met with the existing cash and debit rails already in place. But the simp and cuck Prime Minister Justin Trudeau replied, well, that's an easy fix. We'll just eliminate those existing convenient rails by denying their current access on September the... Is that a dad alert? Yes, it is. Jeepers, it looks like the MACD is once again crossed bearish. Last time we did this, we did test support down at 26K-ish before crossing bullish again. But pianomattyb, What about the news that could take us back up to 30K? Yes, and thanks for asking. There is a chance we may get confirmation on the ARK Invest Bitcoin Spot ETF application today as the psychopathic dinosaurs at the SEC helicopter to their weekend homes in the Hamptons on Sunday, and well, they couldn't possibly make a statement then, so it's likely they'll sneak it out today. And would you look at that, my friends? The sun is up. It's another beautiful day here on planet Earth, a day none of us are guaranteed. We're not guaranteed these days. So get out there and knock them dead. And remember, we're playing the same game as our psychopathic elected elites. That's right, it's the long game. So zoom out and have a fantastic day. And we'll be going live right away, so grab yourself a cup of coffee and join me for a quick one. And it's Friday, so by all means, sing me out, won't you? Around the banks, a boom, the spang. Whoa, ching. Have a great weekend, everybody. Another beautiful day here on planet Earth, a day none of us are guaranteed. We're not guaranteed these days. However, today's been raining, which, you know what? I don't mind because I'm not a big fan of the heat. Too hot, and I don't want to even go outside. I got to run my car just to get the AC going. So when it's about 16, 17 degrees, that's my perfect temperature. Good morning, baseball and crypto, mad faded baby, Squeaky McGee, Dave Digital, Louis H, Jelly Peanut Juice. Yeah, see, this is what I do when the video's playing. I write down people in the chat. Christopher Selden, what does a guy got to do to get a wrench? You just got to ask. I'll give you a wrench. Next time I'm in the studio, I'll hook it up. Donato Carrera Cabrera, David Richards, the mad scientist. 40K, what's 40K, mad scientist? And Dan Lucia, David Sony Music, Omno Vox, David Richards, John Super Fresh, Dave Digital, yes, 29.4. Turns out she was nothing but a nothing burger. Again, that's 6 months in a row. CPI, FOMC, nothing. A little bit of a Then it comes back to the mean, 24.3. So, Cosmic Soul says, a time for Duke's back to school faux hawk. Yeah, well, I'm never cutting Duke's hair. People wanted to cut it all the time. Everyone was after him to cut. Hey, you should cut Duke's hair. I'm like, I will never cut Duke's hair. Even when he wants to get it cut, I'll still try to talk him out of it. I tell him his hair is 1 in 10,000. The fact it's so curly. He's like, I want to have hair like you, Dad. I'm like, no, you don't, buddy. I want hair like you. So we managed to squeak it together, but yesterday I said we're going to try to get the Druth back on, and we have him. However, we didn't get to go over a little bit of a sound text. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push the button, and we're going to hope for the best. Let's see what happens.
Dun, dun, dun.
There he is.
Hello. How you doing? Can you hear me
Okay,
pretty
so
good?
let's see. From the chat, is Druth coming in with an echo, or is he loud
Yes.
and clear?
Let me know in the chat. Absolutely. I can't see the chat up. It's been a fast moving gorgeous. So yeah, just a little bit of a hectic drive in this morning, but hopefully
No
the sound's
echo.
coming over.
Perfect. Now here's the only thing.
Hmm.
Maybe if you keep talking,
Yeah,
say
yeah,
something.
yeah. Checking. One on the mic and syphilis. Syphilis 1, 2, 3.
Okay, here's what I'll do.
Yeah.
I'll take
What's
these
that?
off because this, bathroom
Yeah.
sound. It
Yeah.
wasn't like the other day, echo loud and clear. Okay, so I
Cool.
think we're good
Perfect.
here. Let me just turn you up. For some reason, it's not coming through. All these little, you'd think.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm glad to be in my actual studio where I film my videos though, finally again.
Yeah, nice. So where is that in the big scheme of things?
Yeah, so this is at Hit Network headquarters here in Georgia, and it's the BitBoy Studio. And this is my essentially studio that we really dig deep. We've been doing some uh, pretty spicy videos on the blockchain basement and what they call a blockchain bunker. I do eventually hope to have my own channel, the Blockchain Bunker. Once it's able to branch off. Blockchain Basement's been growing really well, and it's got a great community. I recognize the name Dave Digital. He's well known. Nick has he's under the tyranny of Nick when he comes back, but Nick's out, so I made Dave a mod for the meantime until Nick finds him again. So. But yeah, I've been able to do the blockchain basement. I host, Thursdays and Fridays. I hosted yesterday, kind of work with TJ, and it's been pretty amazing. Like the blockchain basement, we've called a lot of things really well, and the community there, I feel really great about because we've shown some awesome picks in coins and different things that you can do during the accumulation market to kind of stack your satoshis, you know what I mean? And we have an overall game plan that we like to make very well to everyone. At the time being, we're still holding the line in Bitcoin and Ethereum, watching this spot, but we were able to XDC and a couple other good coins. So it's been a really fun channel, and we were there calling the bottom at 17, 15K, and it's looking good so far. So.
I was always a little bit surprised by it because it was such a kind of left turn departure from the programming that was going on. I was like,
Oh yeah.
this is super cool. I'm so glad that it took off right away because is that like so did you hear about these crypto channels getting struck from YouTube this past week? There's like 3 of them or something like that.
I did see that. Pretty concerning. It's nothing that I'm not used that I'm very used to that, right? Yeah, but I did see a few different accounts that they've gotten reinstated, thankfully. My account has never been responded to. I don't think that they'll ever respond to me. I put in many appeals to it, but yes, it is. This is just the unfortunate symptom of privatized control of our digital square. This is, people speak and communicate more so online than anything in today's day and age, and this is their new leash that they can keep us on if you self-censor and you stay afraid of being deplatformed. I've had to just basically remake accounts, get new phone numbers, all that stuff, and it's put in my same name over and over again, right? But um, it's really unfortunate to see, and I hope that I hope that money and attention speaks because people are hungry for the truth and they're going to where the truth is. You see that expansion in Rumble coming from this. You see the expansion and the excitedness on Twitter. And YouTube has left us alone and let us keep doing our thing so far on the basement. It's been really interesting to see Instagram actually push some of the information, which is insane for me to see after the last 3 years, you know, him basically being flicked off the wall like a fly every time that I would speak out against stuff. So, because Instagram is Facebook. So, yeah,
What was
it's
the
it's
first
really
channel that
interesting.
got struck? Like, what was your original channel that got taken down?
So my original channel that got taken down, I think it was under Word. My heavy metal surname back in the day was Word. It's just Drew backwards. And it was struck down. I had mentioned a lot of the conflict things that are going on right now. I don't even feel like it's okay. So Russia, China, Turkey, all that stuff. I had brought up, the potentials for HARP and things like that in Turkey, and some documents from Jorge Oros that he wrote up in 1993 talking about who's going to fill the black bags. And lo and behold, some stuff happened that was accurate to that video, and they took down a whole channel called a Danger to Community, right? So they leave you with no real explanation other than you're just potentially scary. And there it is.
I'm just waiting for this stupid plane to go by.
Oh.
Can you just repeat that part about Jorge Horos?
Yeah. So, 1993, Jorge wrote a document just deciding that Eastern Europeans are going to be filling up the black bags in the Third World War, and just kind of laid out explicitly exactly the pretty much the situation that we see now. Um, And if you think back to not just a few months ago, Turkey was holding back from being allowing NATO to send tanks into the situation and upgrade the armory that is being provided to the Ukrainians and Zelensky. Now that situation has drastically changed after three 7.2 earthquakes hit the region and at least 60,000 people perished. So it's just insane to see that type of stuff going on. Some new stuff that I'm watching is the potential cobalt war that might be kicking off in Central Africa, and the French interests that are being pushed out by populist movements within the center of the region. It's going to be interesting to see if France sits on the sidelines and watches China and Russia uh, take sovereign control over those locations and their production abilities. And those locations, by populist demand, are preferring Putin and Xi Jinping to the French American NATO dominance that they've experienced. They're starting to ask the question, why do we have so many resources but we don't eat, right? So there's a big uprising going in that regard. So that's something kind of new that just clicked in my head is like, yeah, that's where they produce all the cobalt, and that's kind of that's a big component for a lot of electronic components that we say are the future, right? Even though there's not nearly enough on, well, I mean, there might be enough on the planet, but it's going to cost a lot of oil to get them out of the ground. It's going to cost a lot of blood. So yeah, it's we've looked into the lithium circle and the cobalt uh, mines before on the main BitBoy channel, and those were I was actually brought in here originally for uh, the special episodes like we did on Klausy and the robbing internet, things of that nature. But then right as I showed up, everything just kicked off, man. You know what I mean? Like I moved from Colorado to Georgia right as the invasion kicked off. So it's been kind of just reeling in the economy, seeing that where it's going to find its equilibrium. We have all these chaotic numbers of CPI, and the markets don't even seem to care anymore.
Yeah.
It's a really weird feeling. Do you like? Oh, the question in my mind is if the Fed actually has the teeth to raise the interest rates back up to that 16, 17, 18% interest rate that they did have to do in the 80s to fix the 70s inflation and that oil crisis. Right? That's kind of a long-term question. I personally don't feel like the Fed has the wiggle room to do so anymore. When you leave yourself on quantitative easing for so long, your economy will crater if you increase it. Like a lot of we see the SEC going after us here in crypto. I see a lot of these old SEC pundits kind of bringing up their talking points against PayPal and how dare you be minting this currency into circulation from this recent PayPal move for stable coins. And now you see Microsoft investigating as well. Um, and it just made me think again, back to the fact that the U.S. banks are underwater by $600 billion in unrealized losses in securities within our commercial real estate sector, because our city centers that have been the bastion of digital commerce and all that have turned into absolute slums, third world country looking situations with tens of thousands of people on the streets addicted to trank, a new drug, and the fentanyl obviously being funneled to the United States from China. So just a lot of arbitrage. It's a lot of stuff to keep up if you're trying to pay attention to all of it.
What's
But
Atlanta like these days? Like when I see the videos of the other kind of mega cities in the States, it kind of looks like some sort of weird apocalyptic scene from The Living Dead. What's it like there on
yeah,
the East Coast?
Atlanta's bad. Um, Outside of Atlanta's great, right? And I'm not going to sugarcoat it though. Atlanta's bad. There are good spots of it. It's in the northern section of it, but yeah, it's just the same as Denver. I worked kind of on the security realm, and working with the power grid and supplemental police in Colorado, and Denver was, turned into a nightmare. Even nice places like Fort Collins started to get overrun with this same kind of feel. Shoplifting and carjackings and all of that stuff has increased. My family's in the police world, so I get a lot of firsthand understanding. Like from my one of my closest family members has been a CSI for over 25 years. So I get to have kind of a grander understanding of the reality of what's going on right now. And really, but beyond all that badness, really still the main thing that has taken people out is diabetes.
Mm,
Um, it's still just the ease of access of these sugary, delicious products that they make
mhm.
cheaper than the healthy, right? Um, and that goes into crypto too. Like, it's about how to stay healthy, right? How to prosper when things are so out of reach for the, middle class and lower class. You have to find ways to make more and to really outmaneuver the dinosaur modern monetary system.
Yeah.
And you have to do that with, crypto or biotech stocks or different sorts of disruptive technologies. That's where the excitement for me comes in this industry, is because it's disruptive. It gives us a chance to make enough money to afford organic only food for my kids. And, as a middle class guy, during the panty, but previous to the panty, I had helped build a HR company, a headhunting company up to, $6 million a year. It was a 3, 4 person output. I put a lot of weight and a lot of work into that company, and then was shoved out the door like it was nothing over a jab. Um, so then I had to go work 3 full-time jobs to hold on to that same living standard. And, I know 22-hour straight work days. I saw what this country was trying to push me into. I saw the shame tactics that were used against me. And it really clicked something in my head that this is a fight for my life and my family's life. And I have to take it serious as a heart attack. Pun intended. Oh, that's brutal at this
That's
point.
crazy. 22-hour workday. So that basically gave you the practice to be a YouTuber.
Yeah. Well, being a YouTuber, it kind of feels a little more natural. Like I am a heavy metal musician. That's what I did for 10, 15 years before I found my now wife and started the family. And I still do play music. I'm going to be going back to Denver next Friday. I play in Denver, but um, yeah, it kind of, in music, I was writing songs about God and the revelations, but in a way that was just a seed. It wasn't a forceful way of religion. It was just dropping seeds of, uh, you know, kind of counter thought to the mainstay thing in metal, the devil horns and all this stuff. I was very counter to that. I was very counter to that culture. It stirred up a lot of people that didn't like it, and I liked that they didn't like it. I liked seeing them squirm. Right. That's my goal here, is to make you think. So, yeah, I mean, I spent a long time kind of being outwardly spoken in that industry, and then now the YouTube stuff. I mean, it just kind of came upon me, right? Like I came across Ben because so many people were against him, and I was like, why are you so
Hold on a
against him?
sec. Can we go back to you working 3 full-time jobs and
Yeah,
then the journey from there to actually getting to Ben's channel? Because like
yeah,
that's not an easy thing to do. That seems like almost like, to me anyway, like a crazy shot in the dark just
it
to
was.
make that move. So let's hear about that one.
Yeah, it felt like shooting an arrow at the moon, basically. You know what I mean? And then it hit, it stuck. Um, I was working three jobs at the time. I ran my own fencing business and then two separate security gigs. And basically, I was working that 22-hour workday and still not able to afford health care for myself, but I was able to hold on to the house, right? And I was able to feed the kids really good. And just holding on to the house and leaving at the right time at the literal top of the market was insanely profitable. So that was like the first time. I could sit down and breathe, right? After spending, 8 years scrambling and trying to make my way up out of just the month by month, basis. Uh, keep moving and voting with my feet was the first time I had any sigh of relief in years, in years and years. So it was not easy. I had baby twins. I had, two other kids, and we had to drive them all the way across the country. I loaded everything myself.
Wow.
Because guess what? Like, a moving company charges you $35,000 to move your goods, right? And then they'll hold it
Insane.
hostage. So it's a scam. And so I just got a U-Haul and I put a trailer on the back of it and towed my truck. I also built a truck and sold it to add money to that. Built out a classic vehicle and then sold it right before gas went nuts, and that felt great too, because it was a 1971 Chevy K10. It was a 4x4. It was an amazing vehicle, 500 horses, a 350 Chevy small block, and I just really gave it some love and care after I got let go or parted ways, a tech mutually parted ways. I spent, that was the first time I'd been unemployed for any amount of time. So I had, 2 months,
What did they
and I
say to you?
basically,
Like, you have to get this jab, or else what, you're gone?
no, I just, we'd have constant meetings. Things just started to feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Ah,
You know what
right.
I mean? And yeah, I don't know if we're seeing eye to eye, right? And we definitely weren't seeing eye to
Hmm.
eye because he was, I won't make any shots at short people, but he was about half my size. So, and I lost a lot of respect for him in that push. Him being my, previous uh, manager that I'd spent half a decade helping him build a company up, and then he shoves me out over a flu. And like as a prepper, when I saw that stuff coming in November 2019, everyone thought I was nuts for,
Hmm.
diffusing oregano oil on my desk or having an actual gas mask, which is what you need to stop amorphous substances from making it into your body, not a little face diaper. Your eyes are what actually receive those
Hmm.
particulates faster and more effective than anything. So that's what that immediately tipped me off when, March came along and then the face diaper was the whole squeeze and no mention of eye cover. That's when I knew this was a farce.
Mm,
And it always felt like the first shot of World War III, in my opinion, and I still
right.
believe it is.
Yeah,
The only
me too.
question is it a controlled situation? Is this meant to happen, or are Russia and China our true adversaries on the American level? You know what I mean? That's still a question in my mind, because we've spent so long painting the Soviets in this bad picture, right?
Right. Bad guys.
The yeah, the bad
Well, I
guys.
thought that too. Like, so when you go back to World War II, it's almost um, uh, like an old movie with uniforms and in the mud and tanks and guns and everything. And to think that, whatever, 70 years, 80 years later, war would still be fought that way with no
Mhm,
advancement at all is just insane to me. So that being said, when I saw like the Russia Ukraine thing and their boots on the ground and soldiers coming through forests and stuff, like something
mhm,
doesn't add up. And the old tanks, like they're seriously
mhm.
going to war with these old tanks. Nothing's
Yeah.
changed in 80
And they
years. Is
started off, I mean, maybe Putin, and this is benefit of doubt, maybe Putin wanted to start it with those MRAT or those Ma Deuces from the 70s just to see if he could pull it off with his, weakest of, machinery.
hmm.
I was just listening to EU speech where they're saying they're trying to sell the idea that Putin is using dishwashers to repair tanks, using the chips out of dishwashers
Hmm.
to repair tanks.
Interesting.
And it just doesn't seem to add up because China definitely still has control over Taiwan. Taiwan is the hub of, semiconductor production. China's got the control of it still, and China's feeding the materials to Russia, right? So um, that seems like a little bit of a farce. It seems that they are painting a picture that Zelensky is winning or um, Putin has this ultimate weakness. I don't quite buy that. I think it's more of a stalemate where if either one of them goes in, they get dusted because you have drones. I think drones and then javelins, those handheld systems, really changed the game. I think that they made a lot of these larger systems obsolete. And in my opinion, that's why I think that we see a lot of actual people on the ground with those systems hunkered down in the bush, just same way. They just have a little drone device now,
Right.
and then they're catching an angle with a javelin and taking something out. So it is a muddy stalemate, it looks like, in that region. And you see arbitrage with like what happened with the dam, um, and the pipeline, right? All these different moves of arbitrage. And then, of course, we see BlackRock coming in with a rebuilding Ukraine plan, right?
Perfect.
Isn't that convenient, right?
Well, what better massive company than BlackRock? It's almost like it was planned.
I know. It's incredible to see these things just replay and no one remembers
Yep.
Blackwater.
Just
No one
one big
remembers
cycle.
Blackwater.
Yeah,
Right.
it's gone.
And no, it's no problem. And then, I think back to the Iraqi war, the weapons of mass destruction that were never found, right? We were able to just paint like it's just felt like from my standpoint in Western culture that we were hopping from one Arab country to the next as the boogeyman, right?
Mhm.
Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, you kind of look the same. We're going after you too. You know what I mean? It kind of felt that way from the media. And I've learned to just earnestly distrust the media. And I have results, financial results of doing very well by doing opposite
Mhm.
of what they suggest, right? They suggested to save everything to all the big money people right before inflation went nuts. Um, they it's just like it's like opposite world. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Where the the talking heads, the AP News type situation of control is pushing people into a slaughterhouse, I feel like, fiscally and potentially physically.
That whole concept of opposite world is basically how I maneuvered from 2019 to now, right? So, but sometimes
Hmm.
I forget about the narrative because I just end up, kind of thinking normally in a sense. But so let's say everything that the press is telling you is a lie. There's certain things that you have to ask if I'm going to follow that narrative. Okay, well, they're painting Putin as the boogeyman. Okay, but everything
Hmm.
they say is usually a lie. They're trying to make the economy have a soft landing. Okay, but everything they say is a lie. Um, so where do you draw the line? Where do you start accepting maybe they are trying to do something, or
Yeah.
is everything you've ever heard in life, because so far for me, everything I've ever heard in life, from food, diet, school, everything has
Yeah.
been a lie in opposite world. Almost everything.
Yeah. I think that we have to take it upon ourselves to learn how to earnestly research. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of have an edge in that because the job that I was talking about previously, my job was to dig up information of open source information that was available on the internet, but hidden under the first layers and search terms, right? So you can do something called Boolean search on Google, which is essentially you're talking to Google in a more mathematical way about discounting certain fields of information you don't. If anyone's interested in how to find, old school WEF documents citing, what cryptos they want, if you have some actual reason to do it, Boolean searching is highly useful. It's how I found the patents to vid-19. And,
Mm.
I was able to print it out, be like, look who made this. Look where this came from. I had the company name. I had, so you can take it upon yourself and do that. The information is out there. It's just veiled in a way. It's covered by mountains of noise.
So if
So
you were
you
to
have to
Google,
learn.
if you were to Google bully on Google, would it come up with a certain amount of instructions that anyone could follow, or is it even
Yeah,
off that point?
yeah. No, yeah, no. I think like a good program I went through is AIRS, AIRS, AIRS search. Learning how to search, right? And then, again, I do operate from that, kind of FADEM mentality, but you don't want to live there and get stuck there. You always want to start your mindset on any new subject from the middle ground, right? And keeping in mind that, usually things are somewhere in the gray area. Yeah, usually like Putin's probably not a perfect, or he's probably a little bit of a totalitarian or an overbearing leader,
Of course.
right? There's probably a lot of bad aspects to it. But there's probably a lot of bad aspects to our side too. So you have to keep kind of an even keel head when you're looking at this. And that could play into crypto too, right? If you see this hot new project where, there's 10,000 Twitter bot accounts on Twitter just like, yes, this is dropping. This is going to be the next big thing. This is going to be huge, right? You have to keep in mind the benefit of the doubt. And Alex Jones, said it best. It's like you get in this place where you think everything's a lie, and then you'll
Right.
start missing some stuff, and then you
Mhm.
start getting clouded judgment, right? So I think just starting and just recentering yourself before you go back into digging for information and just trying to start off from that middle point is really useful and helpful, especially if we're talking about elections, right? Or yeah, I mean, this plays into pretty much everything in
Yeah.
day-to-day life, but yeah, just trying to have that level-headed approach, I think is the most useful thing to do.
Yeah, I find myself drowning in that everything is a lie concept sometimes because it affects almost every conversation I enter, almost every
Hmm.
social dynamic I'm in.
Hmm.
Because as soon as I
Hmm.
hear someone kind of regurgitating something from the news, I'm just like, then I got to, it's like,
Right.
where do I just be a normie in a social situation and go with the flow? Do I really need to
Mhm.
contradict what everyone's
Right.
saying? You know?
I get it, man. And like just thinking about that type of situation, I deal with it all the time, and I dealt with it especially in crypto in 2019, 2020, when I was just begging for people that were close to me to escape fiat dollar before the big print came, because I knew it was coming. I was a gold bug before I was a crypto bug,
Hmm.
right? And I've always paid attention to the addiction of quantitative easing that our federal government has had and what it potentially or likely will end up to. It's not a matter of if, but when, really,
Yeah,
when an actual default comes. But, when I hear people like that, I just like to listen. I like to look them in the eye. I like to let them know that they're being heard. I like to soak in all of their talking points. And in crypto, I will sit there and listen to them and listen to why they don't think it's real and all these things. And I'm like, okay, here's how much your dollar was worth in 1980, and here's where you're at now, right? Here's how much someone that saved and worked towards retirement for 30 years from 1980 to 2010 has now. This is how long this retirement basket will last them. Like the baseline of fiat inflation, I think, is the most powerful thing we can do in the crypto community to start people on the path to financial sovereignty. They'll come for the gains and they'll stay for the revolution, right? And so, I think that starting with that baseline level of knowledge, even, in history, don't be afraid to bring up history, right? A lot of people, I don't know why, but they don't reference what happened in the early 1900s, right? Um, Kind of a similar situation. It started in 1895 with a financial default in the U.S. The entire country leaned on J.P. Morgan to hold up our finances, and then J.P. Morgan is pushed forward towards us as a country creating the central bank and Federal Reserve, and now we have this situation where our government is beholden to the Central Reserve, and even if it wanted to, it couldn't enforce anything that's useful for humanity because it's beholden to that bank still.
that's right.
So,
I've taken a softball approach to how I move through the crypto um, information highway with people I know, the normies, right? So I just
mhm,
now I just go on record. I just say I just want to be on the record. So in 2 years from now, when crypto is all over the place and everything's going crazy, I'm just going on the record now saying I think you should purchase some Bitcoin today.
right,
What's the date?
right,
It's August 8th. Well, I just want to go on record. That's it. And then I
right,
leave it at that. And I find they're a little more
absolutely.
interested when I do that rather than I do the full court press about
Hmm.
the complete financial saw. You got to get out of the system, because they're so deep in the system, they're never getting
I
out.
know,
And then
I
sometimes that
know.
malaise just falls over their face where you can see it's like they're in some sort of internal pain when they're listening to
Hmm.
anything financial, right? Did
Well,
you
it
hear
turns your
about the?
world upside down.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they've lived their whole life thinking one way, right? And I
Right.
think that they would rather, hit the end of the runway in their life thinking that way, whether it's right or wrong, is just more comfortable than to switch.
Hmm.
Before I let you go, did you hear about the SEC might come out with the ARC spot ETF announcement today? Did you hear about that?
I haven't even gotten a chance to check out the news, but that sounds like a banger. So what do we got going on
Well, the thing is that the announcement, I guess, is slated for Sunday, kind of date wise. But
here?
of course, these people they don't work Saturday, Sunday, so they might leak
Yeah.
late in the Friday market day, like maybe right before the last bell, and we'll see
Hmm.
it. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on that one because that may be something to move the market a bit.
Huh.
Whether it comes back to 29.3 after all said and done, I don't know. But I mean, there's
Right.
nothing much
Right.
that's moving the market these days.
No, I know it. And I mean, that would be interesting to see, because she deserved, Ark Invest, I believe, was the first in line to get that answer, right? And I
Hmm.
think BlackRock's deadline is coming up after that. Um, yeah, I wouldn't, I would imagine they're going to delay, but
Right.
cautiously optimistic. And honestly, in crypto and just knowing well, I mean, I know the 4-year cycle, and me, I operate off of that. I want more time in this flat range, right? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because like, um, the last cycle that gave me time to really build up my altcoin bags. I really didn't start building up my altcoin bags until right about the halving last time. And that ended up being the move. And in this cycle, I kind of operated that way, knowing that. And so I definitely hold the old, Bitcoin and ETH bags. But at the beginning of this accumulation cycle, when it began about 4 or 5 months ago, I was really stacking altcoins, doubled up or tripled up on some of them, took all those profits off the table, start built some things around the house, added some equity to the home with that money, and with a smile on my face, because then I saw the market, right?
Hmm.
Bitcoin sneezes and altcoins just get crushed. So um, now I'm watching that like, man, if we get another pullback, like if we get a delay and then Bitcoin bores people to death all the way down to 25K, we are going to have some very, very good entry points on these altcoins that I've been watching. So
Yeah.
um,
It's a
that pretty
gift.
much excites the hell. Yeah, that's a gift. That excites me a lot. You know what I mean? Because then I can get a dollar optimism potentially. I want a dollar optimism. I want cheaper Caspa. I want cheaper DAG. I want cheaper everything. These prices are too dang high. So yeah, I want to get the cheap, good projects. Like I feel good about optimism because of how cooked into Coinbase, its layer base blockchain is. Um, and it'd be nice to get another shot at Polygon because of all, I really think that Polygon's going to be a massive mover. A lot of people think that it's already kind of experienced its price discovery, but I mean, watch what happens if Bitcoin crashes by 10 or 15%. You're going to have a very, very violent move on altcoins to the downside. So,
What's your
yeah.
opinion on some of these major alts? Let's just call it the top 15 returning to their all-time high. Do you think that's
So
step one and then continue, or do you think that maybe they'll get back to their all-time high?
I think that there will be some that won't. I think that there will be some within that top ranking that their inflation rates their unlocks are going to happen. Their inflation of how many tokens are being created are going to continue to push that price down. Um, yeah, like, and if you're a good example, Shiba Inu, right? I don't think that Shiba Inu is going to 100x, but I do think that it's going to increase by 600% in value by the top of the next bull market. That's what I do expect to see for Shiba Inu. I think a recapturing of its previous market cap. But then again, you got to keep in mind inflation rate. So if that happened right now for Shiba Inu, it'd be a 600% increase. It's probably going to be patted down by, them creating tokens. But Shiba Inu's doing stuff out there. It created Shibarium. It pulled through Shibarium. We all, like Shiba, another dog coin, great. But I mean, Doge is like one of the longest standing cryptos, and it's proof of work, right? Like, and it's always talked about like by Elon Musk, who's one of the most influential people on earth, right? So
Hmm.
there's some things to these, projects that people say there's nothing behind. I mean, there's nothing behind your fiat dollar. Tell me, what
Right.
metaverses are being built by the fiat currency, you know what I mean? So, Um, yeah, I think that there are going to be some that don't recapture their previous all-time high within that top 15. Solana is one that I get asked about a ton, that they have the developer stuff, but they're taking some losses. Like they tried to do the Solana phone that's a flop. They turned, everyone is well aware that they turned off their blockchain. It's not really blockchain if you can turn it on and off, right? Like a
Hmm.
McDonald's ice cream machine. So with that being said, I do see Solana probably hitting $100 in the next market. You know what I mean? Like, so it's nothing to scoff at. It's 5x if you're getting in right now or whatnot. But um, yeah, I mean, like for that, there are going to be some losers. There's going to be some in the top 15 that we see right now that we think are just the dang, and they're not even going to be around by the next bull
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see because, like, when you go
run.
back to the pre bull market last time, how many of those big coins in the last winter are still around?
Yeah, I know. It's insane. And we see Ethereum is just gobbling up everything. Like the whole narrative seems to be shifting to just being a support system for Ethereum and like a layer two for it. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I mean, I wonder about Cosmos. I wonder because these are layer ones that are pining for their time in the sun, right? They have to be noticed. They have to find a use case, and they're just kind of similar systems. They're just also another layer one, right?
Yeah.
So just because you're another thing doesn't mean that you're going to be the next thing. And they're fighting an uphill battle because Ethereum is the elephant in the room, the Goliath that one or few of them will be David against, and it will grab a big chunk of market cap, but it's not going to be the whole smorgasbord. We're not going to see, a ton of layer ones really take over. We don't need a ton of layer ones to
Hmm.
operate this ecosystem. So,
So, are you on the basement today on the stream?
yep, I'll be hosting the basement today.
Who else is on the basement today?
We figure out as we go.
Oh,
You know what I
really?
mean? Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it'll be like I think Taco and DZ, but it all depends on the schedules. You know what I mean? We're creating so much, and there's always stuff going around. So it's always me and BJ, right? Me and BJ are kind of like always there, and then Owen, a new guy, Owen that we got in, and we're teaching him about just being a director, running shows, understanding how to work the actual, TV switches, right?
Yeah.
You have to learn how to operate all this stuff. It's pretty involved and it takes months to learn. So,
Yeah.
we're getting there though. So it's a really fun show though. It's just laid back. We get to kind of dig in, make fun of stuff. I always take at least 5 jabs of Sleepy Joe every show.
Yeah.
Um, I try not to get too worked up. Like yesterday, the Joe Rogan and Post Malone interview got me real worked up and just reminded me of all the things that I've seen over the past 3 years that they've done to people. And we will be experiencing those repercussions for decades. So, yeah.
Well, the crazy thing about Joe Rogan is that I have this rule: when anyone comes out of nowhere, seemingly nowhere, and is the biggest thing in
Hmm.
the world, kind of like Sam Bankman-Fried, out of nowhere, he's
Hmm.
just the biggest. Same with Joe Rogan. Not that he didn't pay his dues, but I always wonder, well, what type of an amazing asset would Joe Rogan be as far as dictating what information gets out to who and
Hmm.
when? Because
Oh, he
right now
was.
he's the biggest journalist humanity's ever had in humanity's
Right.
history. There's no one bigger than Joe
Right.
Rogan, right? So
Right.
we all think that he's kind of, and maybe he is, I don't know, this kind of free thinking, I do what I want because I have FU money.
Hmm.
But if you go back into his history, he really lets things out, from UBI to Elon Musk to everything at a certain calculated time. There's a
Hmm.
documentary out there regarding Joe Rogan. I can't remember what his name, but it'll change your view on him in an
Yeah.
instant. It's crazy.
Interesting. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to
Um,
find it. I'll get it for you. I put your link to your last video that you made in the description so everyone can go watch that. Those
oh,
are
cool.
great. How
Thank
long
you,
do
man.
do
I
they take to
appreciate
make?
it.
Is it a day production or is it a week or?
Sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a day, sometimes all it takes is me just showing up and yelling at the camera because I already got it on my head. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, we want to dig into some subjects. The pain in creating that type of content and so few people care. So I got to find a way for people to care. Like very few people know about the Bundy Ranch. That's something that I want to cover is the Bundy Ranch standoff. It happened, I believe, in 2014. It was, very overlooked by mainstream media, but it created quite a dangerous situation for people like me, who are simply just pro-America, pro-2A, and outspoken. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, there's that's the pain in it, is finding ways for people to wake up and to get the information out there. And obviously, and not, I don't want to sit here and just bash people that don't agree with me, right? I want them to hear, I want them to know that they're being heard, because once communication stops, chaos follows.
Yeah, when when I was watching your video, I was like, man, you could just do a whole series on reacting to comments from the SEC. Like,
Oh,
I'm always amazed on Twitter because I have Justin Trudeau's
hmm,
his thing, and I follow him just to read the comment sections, and I'm
right.
always amazed. Obviously, they're someone's going through it with a fine tooth comb and like getting rid
Right.
of the negative, but it's like I can't believe how many positive reactions to him there is. I mean, right there is a YouTube channel just doing the
I know,
comment section.
I know, and I feel for you in Canada, brother. We're all on this American continent together, and hopefully your people and my people are going to wake up if there's real strength in us.
I don't know. There's have you heard about the million man march coming up? Kind of the
I know.
Muslim community up in Canada are kind of spearheading it, and it's
Okay.
about the school system. There's a plane going by now. If you can, I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah, I
So
can hear you.
that should be quite a tipping point that I'm kind of looking forward to. It should be along the lines of that convoy. You don't hear about it
Okay.
much, but
Okay.
it'll just be like
I'll
a
be
real
covering
game
it.
changer.
I'll be covering it, man. Absolutely.
Well, thanks
Absolutely.
again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Love it, man. And I'll be out next Friday. I'll be out there playing music, but I'll be with you the next one after that. I love
Oh, you're
coming
in
on
Denver
with you.
next Friday?
Yep, next Friday I'll be playing a heavy metal show in Denver. I might be able to try and pull it off
Okay,
from the studio. Actually, I'll see. I'll land and see how the studio setup is and see if I can pull it off. Because I love
sure.
being on with you.
Sounds good. And just a
All
reminder to
right.
everyone, tune in for the live piano bar tonight. Hopefully, we see you guys later. Have a good day, everyone, and a great weekend. Thanks again, Drew. Take care. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video.